Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero here, and you're listening to my Tour Coach podcast. Tour Coach podcasts come from my stories, the interviews, my roundtable discussions, the day-to-day interaction with the people that I teach in my journey in the game of golf, whether it's tour players that I teach or tour players that have fired me, or heck, it's other teachers that I think the world of and respect, or it's mental coaches, performance coaches, or hey, maybe it's just people that have made an indelible mark on my teaching. Whatever it is, I hope this helps you learn more about the playing, the teaching, or enjoying the great game of golf. I sure as heck have fun doing this. I hope you all enjoy listening to it. We've got great sponsors. We've always got great guests. And one thing that we for sure do here on the Tour Coach is we keep it real. None of this is scripted. This is just authentic. This is the discussions and the day-to-day interactions that we have as the dew sweepers and teaching and trying to help all of you play better golf. And look, if you enjoy our instruction and you're somebody wanting to get better, why don't you come see us and get help for your game with our world-famous retreats, which are going to be at Old Palm Golf Club in Palm Beach Gardens with my good friends Mark Hackett, Dan Terleski, Colby Tuyek, Dr. Greg Carton, and a host of many, many more. Or you can come see me at my studio in Mobile, Alabama, or at the Preserve Golf Club. And remember, everything you need to play better golf is always going to be available for you at dewsweepersgolf.com. You can find out where I am and how to be on a podcast if you go there. Enjoy this edition of the Tour Coach. So this is the first Tour Coach podcast we've done live from a bar in a while. Good one here. Pre-Q School. I think I've got who I can 100% say is the longest tenured dew sweeper at this juncture, and it has been that way for a while. Zack Sucher.
Let's go.
We've got Eric Brunner joining us, who's part of Team Sucher. We've also got the Country Club Collection floating in our kind of periphery here, taking pictures. So we're going to let's talk a little bit about, let's talk, Zach. First of all, we're at Bluebell. We're at the Normandy Hotel. This place is pure up here in Bluebell, awesome. Pennsylvania, outside of Philly. I got to have dinner with my Uncle Nicky tonight. Eric, you liking it so far?
Having a blast. Golf course was a lot of fun. The practice facilities are great. We got to play a couple hours of 21 today with Zach and Zach Squared.
That was fun.
And, we got a lot of good work done. Looking forward to heading into stage 1 of Q School.
So here's an interesting, I thought, one, we did good work today. Thought we've done good work the last 2 times. One was last Corn Ferry event of the year. Didn't play great, but I thought we did some good work. So you've been out there a while. What I'm curious about, this is the best attitude and mental approach I've seen you having you go into Q School maybe ever. Well, and why is that? And did me or Eric have anything to do with that?
Well, yeah.
Because we'd like to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're talking about drinking wine here.
No, absolutely. We've had I kind of carried over after Omaha. I didn't play my best there, but like you said, I think we did great on the range and even in the practice round.
You were sick part of that week.
Yeah, I didn't feel my best that week, but but I took a break right after that. Took like a full solid week off of golf and came back.
What'd you do?
A lot of fishing, a little bit of scuba diving, hung out with the family a lot. We went over to South Carolina for like 8 days and hung out over there.
Nice.
And so when I got back, I went to the range and really was like, I'm only focusing on what we had talked about in Omaha and about, covering the ball better and trying to get the club a little more upright. A few of the things that we worked on there and a little bit of footwork. And I think a lot of times we don't get many resets in a year, but like when you do get to take a reset, it makes working on what you want to do a little easier. And so like I did that, and for the last few weeks, golf's been pretty solid. And so attitude in golf's a lot on, goes off our confidence, and so it's pretty good right now.
That's good, because like a lot of guys, as you get older, they get where they don't like having to go to Q School. And I get, as a teacher, I'm like, well, I can't necessarily feel like, hey, I did a great job, you're back at Q School. But I also feel like you've gotten better this year. I actually feel like this is one of those weird years where I feel like as a player you've gotten better, but the results haven't been there yet. And I don't know how to explain that. And like a normal person would look at me like I'm a 3-headed monster. But I do have another glass of wine coming. Thank you, sir. And but like I feel like you've gotten better as a player this year.
Yeah, I think I've gotten the the short game has improved, which helps a lot with confidence. But I also feel like my good has improved, and it hasn't showed nearly as much as I'd like. But I've had a lot of the rounds where I do feel incredibly in control the whole entire day of my golf swing. And yeah, especially as the year's gone on, I've had more of those days. And so I think what we're working on is working, and it takes a while. A lot of times. And so like I felt like we've been going in the right direction, and we're closer and closer every week, which is nice.
I think physically, one, I would like to know your weight loss method, because you've lost a bunch of weight this year, and if I lost that much weight, Yvonne would be so attracted to me. It would be like, you might not ever have another podcast because I might never let myself out of the Hilton Garden Inn room, right? But like, I mean, it's true. But like, you're in the best shape. You can tell you've been doing a bunch of the exercises and the work at home that your folks and the stuff, like when we've been down in Jupiter and Colby's done stuff with you. You know, I want to talk a little bit about chasing speed, because I felt like a little bit last year you got into chasing speed. And the reason so I think lots of people do this, right? Don't you think? I mean, everybody, especially with like, you know, I've got that Bushnell Launch Pro. It's easy for people to get stuff that accurately measures. I felt like we got into that a little bit. I tried to always kind of keep the reins on so we didn't get too out of whack. But talk about chasing speed.
Yeah, I think.
And Eric, you can feel free to jump in anytime.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I started chasing speed. I still would like to hit it further, and I would still like to chase some speed, but I think I got going in the wrong direction on it and not doing it using my body as much. And once my hands got involved more, it was hard to get back out of it. And so I think I still want to hit the ball further, but I've got to get back to hitting it solid and where I want, and then try to work up a little bit.
I always remember this. You knew who my old mentor was, Hank Johnson, right, from Birmingham all those days. But I remember one time a guy said, like, what's the biggest thing I could do to hit it further? I mean, I was super young green teacher. I'm sitting there observing him teach a lesson. And he said, hit it solid, right? And,
exactly.
and he was right, though. Like, I think the first thing people ought to do to hit it further is to actually get to where they hit it solid all the time, then work on adding speed. Once you can line the face up and you get where you're hitting it solid, then I think it's one thing. But trying to add a bunch of stuff when you're not hitting it solid,
sure.
Right?
Yeah. Swinging harder, if you don't do it right, your numbers become worse. And so your spin rates and curve and all that gets worse. And so, like, even if it is faster, if it's not solid, it's not going any further.
So you said today, I asked you, I said, like, well, okay, what you been doing since, we saw each other last? And you talked about the break, a little bit about the fishing, and then you said, look, I haven't filmed myself and I haven't been on a track, man.
Yeah.
Talk about why. First of all, I loved it. And what was crazy weird to me, and I'm going to think about this after this fifth glass of wine, but like, your posture and setup, Eric, you can attest to this. His posture and setup was the best I've seen you. So it makes me wonder if you start going to being more athletic or whatever. I'm not sure on this. I need to ask somebody. Why did you quit doing that? And what have you seen from that?
So I think I just got, when I took the break, I was like, I'm going to get back to hitting. One, I hit it horribly unsolid to end the year. A lot of bad, wasn't that my direction was so awful, but I didn't feel great once we got past like a 6-iron. It was going downhill. And so I think I wanted to get back to just getting my divots much more square into the target and extended. And it was just kind of like, let's get back to hitting the ball solid. We'll start slow. And I don't care how far it goes. I don't care about anything else. I just want to get back to hitting it solid was this first start. And yeah, it's felt pretty good actually for the last few weeks. It felt great.
I think a big turning point and kind of knowing where we stood at the end of that Corn Ferry season and progressing forward into rolling over into this season was Missouri. It was, golf swing looked pretty tight. It was swinging it nicely, doing a lot of great stuff, especially in the practice rounds. I mean, a couple hole-out eagles during the week. And I know he lost it after week one. Or not week one, day one. And we set up on the range and started doing just getting back to our to our nitty-gritty details, just the small things, getting set up right, getting the ball position right, getting our feet squared to our target.
Nice.
And for whatever reason, they just kind of got a little.
So I'm going to ask
out.
you a good question. And your boss is sitting here in front of you, okay? So what do you see is the difference between like where he is now, where it really does look like he's playing good and really playing? Like, you've been on the bag. You're part of Team Sucher. You've been on it basically 2 seasons now, right? What do you see the difference between what he's doing now and what he didn't do? And what are traits you see about when he's doing good?
I think he's a lot better at picking apart the things that he's not doing well and not just sticking to one thing. He's working on his whole game as a whole. It's the short game, the putting. He's not putting more time into one other thing.
Don't you think that's hard to do when you're hitting it that bad, Zach?
100%.
Because you start like all you do is go to the range, right?
Right.
And then sometimes you think you have rounds like during that where you're like, well, I didn't hit it that bad, but I scored awful.
Yeah, scored
right?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. All the
But
time.
you've also had rounds where you hit it horribly and you scored great.
Yeah.
So your short game's clicking, right?
Right.
And so you know kind of where you need to tailor your practice work and the stuff that we do heading into the week for the next week that we have ahead of us on where we need to work on. And you've done a really nice job of managing your time on what needs to be done. And I'm truly really excited for this upcoming year. I know we have a battle ahead of us, but our helmets are strapped and we're ready to go get everybody help.
He's got a helmet.
Helmet.
But I will say this. I've been around you a long time, and I would say we're all close friends. This is the best I've seen him ever all the way around. Short game, mentally, full swing. It's also the first time where when I'm watching you and I'm like talking to you about what you're working on, where you basically regurgitated some sort of form of what we did the time before.
Yeah.
Right? So there wasn't a search.
Exactly. Yeah.
How do you avoid getting on that search? Because I taped the radio show today, right? And I was talking to people about it, and we're talking about a guy I spent years with. You're great friends with. Really well, Robbie Shelton. Robbie's playing great in Napa. And I heard an interview when he won on the thing, and he said he just went back to the old stuff that he used to do, right? There was a guy who admitted he had done a bunch of searching, right? Mm-hmm. How do you avoid that? And how do you get off of that when the temptation happens?
Well, I think last year I did get off of that for most of the year, but until then,
which is even more commendable. You stuck with it,
yeah,
because most people can't stick with it.
I think that what we did today with getting my elbow in more and trying to make it easier.
I've got 3 glasses of water in front of me. You think they're trying to tell me something?
They're telling you something for sure. we made the comment about that felt easy today on the range with the shorter irons, and I think that usually when I am searching a little bit or I'm find something, the correct thing is usually what feels really easy. And that's it. Like you say it all the time on the course as well as I do. You'll feel something either really good or really bad, but usually the part that feels really good and you're like, this is back. It's usually back to the exact basis we started with turning and posture and all the little things that make it simple, I guess.
100%. And the best I've seen him swing it, which is a lot. It's just freewheeling. Everything's simple. You're hitting your checklists. And, to be honest, Missouri should have gone way more in our favor, I think. Mm-hmm. I know your ball striking was a little bit off, but you scored tremendously. But leading into that week, you knew where you were at and you knew what you had to work on. And your goals were set. You knew what needed to be done. And it started in Maine, truthfully. On a golf course, historically, not been your best.
Highest professional
not your
score
favorite spot
ever.
And to come around and go from the previous year to this year and finish 7th, man, it was beautiful golf on one of the tightest golf courses I've ever seen in my life. Kind of quirky to be very honest. But I mean,
Yeah.
You're not doing very good getting us a sponsorship for the main Corn Ferry event next year.
that's right. Well,
I like the place.
Now we like it. We didn't like
So
it the year before.
you said something to me once. This is way back. So this was, and I put this in the brilliant category. I do.
Whoa.
Like, I write down things. You know this from working for me. Like, I write down and remember things that my best players and tour players say when they're just talking about things that, like, I'm like, that's really good. And this, we were standing on the old chipping green at Mobile, at the Country Club of Mobile before the building. Those were the good old days.
Good old days.
Good old days.
You
And I
bring
had
out
that
the dome.
And I had that tent that was like a hot box, right? You know, that's
The
what
dome.
it was like.
Call it
right?
the dome.
Could have smoked something over there. We'd all been fine. But anyway, so you said you had just gotten back. It was actually like early in the spring. And you had just gotten back from playing those international Corn Ferry events, like Latin America stuff, basically.
Yeah, Panama and Bogota.
And I remember, you were like, you were coming to the club. You said, "Hey, can we work a little?" So we worked, and I said, "Well, made the cut here, missed the cut here, made the cut with you." And you said, "I actually hit it way better than my score. I've got to get to where I score better than I hit it." I thought that was fantastic, and I've told that to a bunch of kids and a bunch of people. But I thought that was like pure genius, right? Because you said, like, you went through each round. You're like, this round, I'll never forget it. You went like, this round, I shot 70, but I hit it 68. And then you're like, the next round, he went through round by round for this whole deal. And you're like, I shot 70, but, I really shot 60, whatever it was. And you were like, I got to get to that. And I always thought that's a fantastic way to look at it, because if players started, instead of evaluating every shot, you started accepting the challenge of, like, I want to try to score better than I hit it.
Yeah.
That's interesting to me. Man, I know I've had some red wine, and I'm getting on a damn tangent here.
Like, almost every event I play really well in, at the end, I'm like, I scored overall, you score better than you hit it. Like, you're like, you make 20 footers and you get out of trouble, and you don't pay the price for your bad swings. And I think that when you, like, every time I play good, and I play with a lot of guys that do this all the time, like, the people who you're like, how did you shoot? You think they shoot even par and they shot 5 under when you're done, and you're like, you just, didn't make mistakes. You never paid for bad swings, like, kept it all in front of you, and you make a few putts, things like, it just is a huge difference if you just counted everything from 6 feet and in as a make, and didn't make anything outside of 10 feet. Like, at the end of the day, the winners every week and the guys that are playing well, they always score better than they hit it that week.
Have you ever had a week where you had a real good finish that wasn't a win? Say you're 8th, and you said, you know what? I finished 8th, but I didn't score as good as I hit it. Have you had one of those where you didn't win, but you hit it good enough to win, you think?
Yeah, I've definitely had a few.
Like where you're close to winning, too. Because we've all had, like, finished 40th and I hit it good enough, right?
No, I've definitely had a lot of those tournaments, especially going back to, like, when I was first professional. I feel like I did that a lot, where I just feel like I wasted shots, more than the usual. Everybody's going to hit bad shots, but, like, where I just threw away some easy up and downs, missed some short putts, and, like, when I go back, they add up so fast when you're talking about, like, short game and putting, and, like, having that huge miss that costs you 2 here and there instead of just, making a better swing. But, like, I'm trying to think of even tournaments that I've played really well in, like the Travelers. I wasted 3 and 2 holes mostly on.
I watched that.
Yeah, it was awful, and had a 4 putt on Sunday on the front 9. Like, there was a week where I easily could have won, and I would have said the first 2 days I had scored pretty perfectly. I hit it well, didn't make any mistakes, like bad mistakes, putted well, and did exactly what you're supposed to do. Followed by a back 9 on Saturday that just ruined the whole week. Back 9 on Saturday and the front 9 on Sunday were, I missed the cut by 5. And so I think there's plenty of those weeks where you can look back and say, if I saved some shots here, you did the simple things right, the easy things that everybody should do right, how many shots better you be?
It's one thing I see. I'm going to go to Eric after this, but I see the guys that are always up there. like when they're playing really good, I see that when they have the time where they miss it just short of the green and it's 30 feet up the hill, they never leave themselves 4 feet, right? It's like I see that they have the easy bunker shot on the uphill slope, right? They hit it inside a foot. I see that they take care of that. And then I see guys, or whatever, but I see where they don't get one up and down that's straightforward. They may make a miracle one up and down, but the easy stuff to me. So you've been out there 2 years, E. What do you see? The guys playing the best week in, week out. What are you seeing? And what do you see about how they prepare and what they're doing on the range? And when Zach's doing his best. And you've had a bunch of success with him. He's playing some great golf, and we're going to get to what's ahead. But what do you see?
And, I love that. And I love that question.
Fairways.
Fairways are big. You see guys hit, I think a great example was Chris Baker. Not too long ago. The guy did everything right. We were like, man, it was one of those rounds where you say, looked like an even par round, but he was 6 under. And he did it all week long. And it was 6 under, 6 under, 6 under. And it was taking care of those 5-6 foot putts. Never really missed a fairway too bad. If he did, it was by a couple feet. And
very few wow shots.
Yeah,
just solid.
He kept the ball in front of him all day. He got everything up and down, and he made everything he looked at. But he left his ball in that makeable spot. He never was short-sighted, but he never had some crazy downhill sweeper. He always left himself with a routine, if you will, a routine 6-footer, if that's such a thing. For me, definitely know it's not. But yeah, that's to me the biggest thing. And then, I know we talk about it just about every time we talk shop. How they prepare for the golf tournaments is they stick to their plan, and we're seeing Zach do that.
That's one thing I think you've improved on the last couple of years. How you prepare for a tournament and your preparation at the event.
Going back to Maine, Zach stuck to his plan the whole entire week. Never wavered from it. Made a couple adjustments after rounds 1 and 2. And, man, the way he stuck to that plan was it was spot on perfect. And he knew what he had to do and to continue on his season. Maine would have been the end of the road for us last year. And to do what he did, it was...
Explain that, because not everybody knows, listening knows.
Yeah.
What do you mean? And I knew going in, and I knew when you flew up. Right?
I knew it had to be done. I knew the task at hand. Zach for sure knew the task at hand. And by God, if he executed it, I think it was the most beautiful thing. There hadn't been a single round yet where I cried when I walked off the 18th green, but man, that was an emotional moment because I knew what that meant. You had Courtney and the girls coming out and hugging on him and loving on him. He had his mom and dad there. It was a beautiful moment to be a part of. And, Zack Sucher is a fighter. I know he's not going to lay down. And we got a lot of work ahead of us, and we're going to continue on. But, man, the way he went about that whole entire week was just... This is what we're hitting on this hole, and he stuck to it, even if it was.
That's a good lesson, though, for next year.
Oh man, it was
right.
It was
you
stuck to it.
You got to find. Don't you think it's hard? But it's hard. Everybody always says, well, why the hell didn't I do that every week, right? Mm-hmm. But to figure out how to get to that point of focus as well as that point of freedom. He doesn't play that good if he's not relaxed and free feeling either, which is weird, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You think about it because nobody plays good tense, right? So somehow, even though you were under a bunch of pressure, you figured out how to get free.
He did. And I love to talk about this week. It was fun. Sunday.
He loves it.
I do.
Sunday was fun.
Man, Sunday, we're trucking along, and he's flagging everything he looks at. Whatever the club is, whatever the number is, it's at this point, ball's in his court. I'm just carrying the bag at this point. And we get to hole 40. I think he's made 3. What have you made? 4 straight? 3 straight? I think you went 4 straight.
I got 1, 3, 4,
5.
5.
Yeah, it was after 5. You
7
looked at
and 9.
Yeah. You looked at me after 5, that par 3, and you about had a kick in. You looked at me and just give a okay. Like
good.
let's keep it rolling. And sure enough,
exactly
you did.
It
was just
okay.
it was, man, and that's one of my other favorite things. We'll talk about that later.
When do you like? Okay, so when you're in one of those rounds and you get off and you birdie 4 or 5 or something holes out of 6 or 7 or whatever, what the hell do you think? Like, what goes through your mind? Okay, so like when you birdie 2 of the first 3, how is that different than when you birdie 6 of 8 or something? You know what I'm saying? Like you birdie 2 or 3, you're like,
yeah, you're like, this is great. Like,
yeah, right.
Nothing crazy, and like, when you get to 6 and 8, it's like awesome. Like I haven't missed a shot, and like 59 watch. Let's keep it going. Like that's kind of the mental side of it. Is like when you're 6 through 8, your only focus on is like, let's get the next one and birdie the next one, and like that's the most fun golf you'll ever have.
Get the number and execute.
Yeah.
Right.
And love it.
It's good. It's good stuff. It's good for people to hear. I just was curious. Like, so when you have one of those rounds going, you're an interesting student because you shoot some crazy damn low shit. You can make a bunch of damn birdies, right? And then you can shoot some numbers. I'll scratch my head.
That's right.
Right. So. But, like, when you get going, what is your thought? Like, when you you shoot some ridiculously low numbers at times. What's your thought? Like, and do you ever think, like, why the hell can I not do that shit more
all the time?
And can't Tony teach me to do this more than once out of 4?
I got an answer for it.
Or better. I want to hear it. Let's hear it.
You know this one. You know where the gas pedal is.
That's right. Gas pedal's on the right.
It's always on the right. You keep that foot on the gas and you don't look back.
I think that when I look at all of my really low rounds mostly come from putting. And it's the rounds where I hit it well, but I also made way over my fair share of putts. And so like there's something about running in, not like short putts, but if you run in
15, 18
3
footers.
15 footers.
Let's say 3 15 to 25 footers early, all of a sudden you're feeling the line, like you're seeing everything right, and the hole gets bigger. And a lot of times, today being a perfect example, I was like, I don't even know which way this ball's going. Mm-hmm. And you don't feel like you're going to make many putts, or you're guessing on the lines. There's a difference when you start rolling them in early the whole day. You just the speed's perfect, and it's end over end, and like I think that's the biggest difference is the really low rounds. Your putter just feels like you feel like you're going to make everything, and never had a bad putting round that I felt like I was going to make everything.
Let me ask you. Okay, so we're going to wind it down here. Heading to Q school, both of you. I'm going to ask you each individually. What's your plan and your thoughts? How do you approach? I know you don't enjoy going back, but I actually feel like you're in a great spot. Not as much stress as some of the guys we know that might, like, if they don't make it, they don't have anything, right? You know, how are you approaching it? And Eric, how are you approaching it as a caddy? We'll start with Zach because he's more important because he's the player.
Correct.
So I haven't been to Q school much in the last really 5 years, but obviously I think second stage is pretty hard. Final stage, obviously, you gotta show up for the whole week. But like, I always thought going back to college, it was like pre and first is like, you play good golf, you're going to get through. You don't have to do anything great. Mm-hmm. Like, it's nothing special. You get the full 4 days, so it separates the field. And so, like, I'm enjoying having something to play for again because there was a month gap. There's going to be another 3-week gap after this. Like, that mean a lot more than just, like, the small money games. But I think the other thing is that you don't have to shoot lights out. It's solid golf, so it'll be... We're at like a shorter golf course where we're going to, and overall probably a very safe game plan because again, first and 20th make no difference, and so it's minimizing your big mistakes, and so most of the holes we'll try to take out.
I've always thought when watching Q school, and I've always thought Korn Ferry Finals is similar to this. I remember when Lucas went to Korn Ferry Finals because he had an injury and all that, and he finished second or whatever in the one of it, whatever, got it easily. But I always felt like the people that, and I don't mean this in a negative way, but just believed that, like, they were better, or like, I'm excited because this is going to be a good test, and if I play solid golf, I get through. I always felt like those were the guys that are going to make it versus the guys that are like, if I go play good, I'll get through, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because there's a difference.
Completely agree.
Because there's a difference. Like, and we've all known people. I've coached a bunch of people who, like, if you video them, Eric, you've sat in the bays, and their golf swings are beautiful, and you're like, man. But then, like, when you talk about going to Q school, I mean, I got to play whatever. But, like, then there's guys that, like, I remember talking to Lucas about Korn Ferry Finals. Like, I mean, it's just like, well, I mean, I'm going to get through.
Yeah,
like, right? Same deal, right?
My good's
and
plenty good,
you,
right.
the way you were talking about first stage, second stage, third stage, right? Like, I just think that, I just think that's part of it.
Yeah.
Am I off base on that?
No, you're right on it. Like, it's
because we can all flash back. We've heard people on both sides of the deal. We're not going to talk about it. Like, you're like, well, that guy just didn't think he was going to get through.
Most pressure you feel playing in something for the vast majority of the guys.
Yeah.
Like, it's
and you already know you got your 4 days.
It's all or nothing. That's it, and the whole way through. And so, they don't have any more events after that. So, like, it is the most pressure. So I think the guys that go in,
they need to go back to Q school
arrogance
for the tour spots. I think it's be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, but I think the guys with the most confidence, the guys that think they have the arrogance about it, like plenty of confidence, not worried.
So, Eric,
my game plan for this upcoming week, I want to go and dissect this place just like we did Maine.
It's a similar golf course.
It's very similar golf course, right? And I want to pick apart, and I'm going to make you hit more balls than you want to hit off the tee, and figure out what club we're going to hit, and pick that place apart, figure out where we're going to hit it, and trust our little landing zones. And I'm also going to go walk the golf course enough to know how to read those greens. I'm tired of batting 350.
The Bermuda, we're going to love them.
I know that, but I get to go back home to my home state and ready to go give them hell.
Let's do it.
Guys, first of all, thanks for hanging out tonight. It's fun, and we got a lot of work done today. We're going to get some good work in tomorrow. Bluebell's an awesome place.
Yes.
I highly recommend it. If you're in Philly, come hang out. And Zach, thanks for being the longest tenured dew sweeper. We've had our ups and downs, and sometimes you get mad at me. I'm sure I get mad at you, but we've hung in there, and we've ended up with our baby Eric.
That's right. We've had some
What
fun.
a mean baby you've created.
Yep. So let's go get him at Q School. And I think I told you, Eric and I've had this conversation. There's no better time to get on the Korn Ferry and get your card than this year with what the tour's done, right? Kudos to Jay Monahan and everybody. And I'm sure Country Club Collection's glad he's not here to hear that part of that. But anyways, appreciate you everybody hanging out.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Tour Coach. I want to take a minute and thank Cordy Walker and Golf Science Lab, as well as my sponsors Shrixon, Buick, Bushnell, and Vineyard Vines for helping make all of this possible and helping me share my insights with you. If you like what you've heard, why don't you check out more on the Dew Sweepers channel on YouTube, as well as the Dew Sweeper on Instagram, or go to dewsweepersgolf.com to find out more about my teaching, my travels, and where you can find out more about me.